An angel investor might consider a 10% success rate to be phenomenal, but does that mean 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 100? Ben Littauer knows a thing or two about that. And Ben, welcome to the Language of Business.
Thank you very much.
So which is it, 1 out of 10 or 10 out of 100?
Well, I'm afraid statistics will tell you that you have to go with a larger number of investments before you can be assured of seeing the kinds of returns. Even though 1 in 10 might succeed, you can invest in 10, but you didn't find the right 10.
Over perhaps the last 5 years, how many have you invested in?
I have a total of about 25 active investments and another dozen that are either exited positively or exited with holes in my wallet.
We first spoke with you in 2013. How have those investments been doing?
Well, most of them are still alive and doing very well, thank you. We still don't know how they will turn out.
Are you happy or sad that they are doing well but haven't had an exit strategy?
I'm very happy that they're doing well. I would love to have an exit because I like to play more.
You mentioned a few years prior that if you were getting in the 10% in terms of return, you were ecstatic. Has that changed?
I believe I said 10x's in return, not 10% in return. Overall, I would love to see the portfolio do 10% or even 20% or better. But a 1 in 10 chance at a 10x is great, and if I have a 1 in 100 chance at 100x, I'm quite happy too. I'd love to see 100x in my portfolio, and I think there might be some sleeping there.
How has your investment philosophy changed over the past few years?
Initially, as many angels invest, they discover that they're investing too much in the early stages so that they can't build a broad enough portfolio. And so I started off investing larger amounts in fewer companies. And very quickly I learned that you needed to invest in more companies and that my personal fund was going to run out at some point. So I reduced the amount I was investing. Over time, I've decided that maybe you need to do even more than that in order to find perhaps that 100x nugget. You need to invest even smaller amounts in even more companies. And so that's the philosophy I'm approaching now.
Do you make the investment decisions as a lone wolf or with a group?
Yes and yes. I am a member of 2 groups, Boston Harbor Angels and Walnut Ventures, and I make a lot of investments through those groups. Since I'm a small investor, as we've just discussed, I need a lot of people to ride along with me in order to make the investment work for the company. So I make a lot of investments through those groups, but in addition I do a few investments on my own or with other syndicates that exist through AngelList or through some of the crowdfunding sites.
What advice would you give to someone starting off who wants to be an angel investor?
Join a group is certainly a big thing. That was where I learned all the ropes and learned how to do this stuff. The best education is to see people in action, investing in companies, see what works, and decide what will work for you.
Any rule of thumb in terms of how much of a haircut you would advise someone to give financial projections?
You don't believe financial projections. Things don't work the way they say. It takes longer, it costs more. We usually look at the financial projections, which have to fit a certain formula in order for us to look at the company at all. And then we shave it all down to a quarter maybe of what they say. And if that still looks reasonable, we're happy with it. On the other hand, angel investing is an emotional decision. If you love a company, you're going to believe the projections, crazy as that might be.
How about technological claims?
We tend to invest at the point that much of the technology has been developed. That said, sometimes the technology still needs a good deal of work, and we do sometimes actually look at code, look at the technology. We certainly look at patent portfolios if those are relevant. So we'd like to see that the technology is going to work. But really, technology is usually not the gating factor in a company's success. It's bringing it to market, finding product market fit, and then successfully selling it.
How about chemistry of the management team?
That's a huge thing, of course. We love our entrepreneurs to be what we call coachable, that they listen to us and give us reasoned responses, not always agreeing, but giving us reasoned responses to our criticisms and suggestions. But we really want entrepreneurs who can think clearly, because we know the business plan that we invest on the next day is not the business plan that we are going to be moving forward with. Pivots are common.
When you find out that venture capitalists have entered a company that you had previously funded, what is your first reaction?
My first reaction is that I have to increase my patience because their timelines look longer than mine. So I prefer to see companies that won't need VC funding. On the other hand, if I really want to see that 100x, very likely I'm going to need venture funding.
Ben, thank you.
My pleasure.
Ben Littauer, New England-based angel investor on location in Durham, New Hampshire.